Alright, so basically this is a review and reaction or whatever on the documentary Leanne Race Pop and Power. And I'm just gonna put up a thread that the founder of Black Professional Network, BYP Network, what the founder put up, which she's a heaven sent because I was gonna write notes, but then I'm like, I can't be bothered right now because the timing is just whatever in it. So I'm like, alright, cool. And then next thing you know, you know me, this happens. She posted this. Yeah, I believe she's Igbo as well, actually, which wouldn't surprise me. All right, so boom. So the first point she makes, I'm gonna put it up so you'll see it. It was really good that colorism was addressed and it featured quite heavily, especially given the backlash around getting this platform. I also like that she spoke about the backlash, and I like that as well. So she's also speaking for me. You hear me? I don't know her personally like that per se yet, but she yeah, she spoke about that, and I'm glad. I'm glad she mentioned that because I like that she spoke about colorism and the backlash that she may get, and it's interesting because she also talked about the colorism with the colorism tweets that her husband, I don't know, well, they're gonna be married by the time this comes out years later or whatever, not years later but whatever, her husband, fuck it, Andre Gray, is it Andre Gray? I can't remember. No, is it? He's a footballer, innit? Like, plays for Watford. All teams. Why Watford? Anyway, no disrespect to Watford, innit? Anyway, yeah, so, long story short, he had like colorist tweets. And it's not even surprising that he did have them type of tweets. And here's why. Because it was unfortunately very, very common for black people, whether they would be light skin or dark skin, to make colorist tweets, or colorist posts, or say things that are colorist. It was very normal, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm so grateful that I never partook in that because I already knew what time. For some reason, I already knew what time it was. The only time I've ever came close to to saying something that was colorist, and this was like back in secondary school. I'm probably like 13, 14 years old, but I heard it from other people, including one particular youth. I can't remember. Well, I know his name, but like I don't want to say his name like that. But like we used to call him Blicketry. You know what I mean? And that was because he was dark skinned. He was darker than me though. And it's like when you deep it, that is something colorist. But it's funny how as I grew older, I don't know what was said to me. I don't know how, but for some reason I ended up in a situation where I kind of stayed out of that. Do you know what I mean? Like I kind of stayed out of name calling and making these type of posts about the only thing I've come close to that is when it comes to women in their weaves, and even at some point when I realized, yeah, this is foul, I shouldn't be talking about this, or you know what I mean, doing this type of stuff, so I deleted certain things like ages ago before so-called cancel culture or whatever. But anyway, so so she berated her ex, I say ex, her husband or whatever. I'm gonna say the ex footballer because anyway. Anyway, going off this tangent. Let me just calm down. Alright, so basically, she also rates Leanne for taking on the feedback around colorism. Would she be where she is today in Little Mix if she was a few shades darker? And that's a good question to ask. And also, she more got into depth in regards to colorism with these three girls that she met at the march. Yes, he met up with these three girls, and at the Black Lives Matter protest or march, and that's the one thing I never used to like rate marches. Now I might just end up going to marching and protesting. It will go into link and network and stuff like that because that's the only thing I'm seeing it as now, creating awareness. But we know the problem exists, but also networking. That's the only way I'm gonna see it. So obviously I've got this organization, so if it means that I have to go there, boom, or I have to send someone else to go there in my representation of the Alkebulantrust representation, then cool, so be it. But I don't want it to be another protest for that to happen. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, anyway, I see ended up going on those girls' podcasts, interesting enough as well. She also mentioned we shouldn't the another part of the thread was we shouldn't dismiss the mixed race light skin experience because there is a too light for them and too dark to them. However, they must always acknowledge that they're privileged too on getting more opportunities than dark skin counterparts. Now this is where it gets a bit techy because that is true to an extent, but at the same time we don't know. You know what I mean? Like, as far as everyone has their own experience in it, so it's like we can always see it from the perspective of, oh, we only know she got that part because she's too light, but how do you know? You know what I mean? This is not me to say that I don't understand colorism, because I 100% do, but it's like, how do you know? We have to collect certain evidence to really prove that. It's the same question of asking why Leanne asked if she was darker, would she be a little mixed? You know what I mean? Now, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It's easy to say maybe not because she's light skinned, isn't it? Maybe she wouldn't, because if she was dark skinned, do you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, we don't know. Does light skin privilege exist? I believe so. It does. On both parts, in terms of black men and light skinned black men and light skinned black women. However, we cannot allow that to let me talk about the conclusion afterwards anyway. And then also that's it as well, because there was a part as well with her mom and her dad or whatever. They were mentioning something that I found very, very interesting, and that was the simple fact that, what was it? Yeah, they're both would consider to be mixed race, but they see themselves as black. And the mum said something to the extent of, they see you as black anyway, or something like that. And I've been saying this whole time. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've been saying this whole time. Even if do you know what I mean? If you're seen as, even if your heritage is mixed, and you do have a brown skin, they're still gonna be racist towards you. Do you know what I mean? So you're identified as black, they're still gonna call you. Anyway, let's not even get into that. Anyway, so another point that was made was hearing Keisha from Sugar Babes call out the truth, i.e., dark skinned black women do sell albums, are even stars from Mary J. Blige, Lauryn Hill. There's a narrative that is impossible, which is false, which is true. It's like dark skinned women do sell, and it's the narrative. Because even there was a Michael Jackson, I forgot what it was, but there was a note that Michael Jackson made, and he had someone basically told him that it can't be on the magazine or whatever because black people don't sell or whatever. You know what I mean? Now look at him, one of the most sold artists in the world. Not even, the most actually. Even after death, like the most. Do you know what I mean? So, like, but as far as dark skinned women in the industry, we're going to talk about in the UK. At one point, it was Alexandra Burke. She was there too in the documentary, and even who else was there? Obviously Keisha Buchanan was there, but and Naya was there. It would have been nice to see Misha be there as well. But as far as selling is concerned, there's bare people in the UK that have sold before, like in like Beverly Knight, Jamelia, but nowadays you rarely would see, dark skinned women in the mainstream. But again, I don't really focus in the mainstream either right now. As I was growing up, because it was just like in my face that way. But now I choose what I want to see. So if you're at that stage in your life where you choose what you want to see in here, you can do that. Like you got access to social, you got access to the internet. Well, if you got access to the internet and you watch this, so clearly, you got access to go search some dark skinned artists or females or whatever that you want to listen to. There's bare of them out there. If you're talking from artists, Inni, Ray Black, already mentioned Nayo, Alexandra Burke, Keisha Buchanan, although she's still in Sugar Babes. I think they got a new song coming out as well. Who else? There's bare dark skinned women, and I'm talking about in the UK. Yeah, bare. There's enough of them. There's Abigail Ashanti. I just wish she was more consistent. You see, Abigail Ashanti. I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand the levels that this girl has. Like, she has fucking levels. You see how gassed I am right now. Then there's Lioness. Then there's, you know what I mean? There's so many dark skinned women that I can say that you can listen to. Do you know what I mean? And you can boost their sales as well by listening to the music. Then there's Rebecca Winter. Come on, man. There's bare, bro. Like, this is what I'm saying. I don't really focus on the mainstream. I literally focus on what I care about. That's how you should focus your energy on. Focus on what you care about. Fuck the mainstream and focus on what you care about. Focus on your stream. Yeah? Fuck mainstream, your stream. Anyway. And then, yeah, what I didn't know as well was about Keisha being replaced, having labels placed on her as intimidating, a bully. It's frustrating, to be honest. It was the end of the group once she left, which is true. I agree with that. And we can see the same old rhetoric placed on black women over and over again. It's just jarring, doesn't matter the industry, which is true. No matter what, they always want to label dark-skinned black women, especially. Yeah, I don't know about light-skinned women, but I know, in fact, probably dark-skinned. No, yeah. Light-skinned women, but especially dark-skinned women, they label them as bullies or aggressive. You know what I mean? They have their opinions about something. Oh, they're a bully, but they have an opinion. How does that make them a bully? For me, it's always the case of. Anyway, I'm not gonna get to that yet. I'll talk about the conclusion afterward. What should be done. Let me see something. All right, because I don't think she actually mentions it. No, she hasn't mentioned it. Alright, so basically, one thing that was not mentioned was the fact of with Leigh and herself and her own experience of feeling racism towards her. You know what I mean? It's all subconscious, like subtle. You know what I mean? The way that things are. Like she talked about certain things that I forgot what it's called, like the photographers or whatever, the editors, they would Photoshop her nose and stuff like that. And then there was a point where her and another bandmate wanted to get a nose job because of that. And funny enough, I when I looked at it first, I was never really a little mixed fan or big gamey. I was never a fan like that. But when I did see that other girl, I had a feeling that she was mixed. I'm like, there's how people see her as white. I ain't got a clue. Now Ray, for example, in the documentary, the way she styled her hair, the way she was dressed and everything, she could pass off as white. Do you know what I mean? Like, and she also mentioned she dresses and sings in certain ways for that. Do you know what I mean? Like, if that kind of makes sense, something like that. But anyway, the point I was trying to make was, right, this video is longer than I expected. Yeah. So the another point I made was. Another point she mentioned was, when she went to Brazil, it's like, compared to, basically, when she went to Brazil, when there's predominantly more black people, she had people screaming, Leigh Yan, Leigh Yan, Leigh Yan. Do you see what I mean? Familiarity breeds comfortability. Yeah? I know some people want to say familiarity breeds contempt, but in some cases, familiarity breeds comfortability. Yeah. In fact, that's more or less the same thing, actually. But the content part is more as people mistreating because you're familiar But in this case, it's more of, you know what I mean? You're personally feeling more comfortable and feeling more safe and secure within yourself. And yeah, so compared to, you know, wherever else she has been, it's like it's always been predominantly white and they're never really taken to her like that. So which kind of makes sense. People gravitate towards people they look like. It sounds selfish as fuck, but that's just a harsh reality. You know what I mean? If they look like them and you can resonate with them, you're gonna relate to them. You know what I mean? Like me growing up here, for example, if we're looking at, for example, girl bands, yeah, right? So me, I kind of gravitate towards Scary Spice, or even that when you deep it, I don't know whether that was the name that she particularly chose, but raw, isn't that an undertone of racism? Scary Spice. But then, funny enough, Baby Spice, which is Emma Bunton, you know what I mean? Like, she comes across, she's supposed to be all the sweet one, blah, blah, blah. Like a, oof. Wow. I just clocked. All this time I didn't really, and they're under the same label more or less, like Sony, but also Simon Fuller and Simon Cowell. Simon Cowell, you got a lot to answer for yourself, bruv. Fuck. Anyway, another point that was made was black women always knew Alkebulan's career didn't take off the way she deserved. I agreed with that. Deep down, we knew why. Hearing her say it doesn't make it easier, as shocked as we are, that was just told to, she was told to bleach, and we've seen our faves do it before our eyes. I don't know if, the only person I know that's bleached their skin is Vybz Kartel. That's the only person I know that's bleached their skin. Other people, I have no idea. I have no idea. But, oh no, then there's, well, if we're talking music, yeah, Vybz Kartel. Don't know any other else. If we're talking about any other industry, Sammy Sosa. Now, I'm not a particular huge baseball fan, but I found out about Sammy Sosa because of Vybz Kartel, because someone was talking about an article to do with skin bleaching and all that stuff there. His name came up, so, you know. Yeah, that bit's a bit shocking as well. Even though I saw a video before in regards to that, mentioned that she was gonna, they told her to bleach her skin, do all this stuff there. It's like raw, and you would think as well, her mom made it through in the industry unscathed. As I don't know what her mom went through personally, but it's like if I think it wasn't for the strength of her mom, I don't think, maybe she would have fell for it. I don't know. Who knows? But I think because of the strength of her mom and what she went through, she probably thought, no, I'm not doing this. Fuck that. Do you know what I mean? And they gave her the wrong song choices as well. Like, I'm like, what the? And then she mentioned about, anyway, let's never get into that right now. And then another point that was made is Ray was interesting. I definitely liked her music. I check featuring cultural funds. Next thing I know, she looked different and the music was the opposite. Hearing her say why didn't make me feel sympathy. You made a choice to be more palatable and you took that route simple. Now here's the thing. It's the same thing, yeah. I understand her reasons for not having any sympathy, but we gotta have sympathy here. The reason why we got to have sympathy, because it's the same thing in the industry over and over and over again. They do it with grime artists, yeah, where they're like, okay, well, we like your music, we like the attention you're making noise. I will sign you, but for you to get on radio, to get playlisted, to you to get on this mainstream TV, to get all this blah 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 blah, you now have to make music that actually is palatable to a wider audience. Do you see what I mean? The majority of people in this country, per se, majority of them are white, so they don't listen to this music. So you're gonna have to stop making that music and make something a little bit different. Yeah, that's what tends to happen. Like, for example, Songs like Wear My Rolex, that would never exist, yeah, if it was, do you know what I mean? But unfortunately, anyway, let me just keep it moving. But you know what I mean? It's the same thing. So of course she played into it because she wants to make money. They tell you this is where the money is, and if you're seeing the money for yourself, and you're like, fuck, makes sense. Let me do this. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, yeah, it's a Tracy taken, but it's like, shit. Either way, unfortunately, there's, in some cases, for some mixed people, or mixed race people that you want to call them, whatever, some can pass for white. Yeah? There's Mariah Carey, she could pass for white, but she's, you know what I mean? She's black. Paris Jackson, well, if we're talking musicians here, because she's a musician as well now, like, most people see her as white, but no, she is black. It's the same. You see what I mean? The conversation that I forgot her name. I'm very bad with names when it comes to this. Because anyway, some people saw her as white, but when she was living up north in wherever in the UK, you know what I mean? She was seen as foreign or whatever because of her granddad, who lived with her granddad for whatever, eating, you know, ethnic food. Blah. I say ethnic food, but the food where she comes from and stuff like that. And then next thing you know what I mean? Comes to London and all of a sudden she's white. People telling her, oh, she's white. It's so mad. Imagine you're being told you're something that you're not. Do you know what I mean? It reminds me of a video that Kerry Ross once said, I could say that I'm Chinese, but you got to prove to me that I'm not Chinese. Do you know what I mean? So it's crazy, but it's the opposite of what I'm talking about anyway. And yeah, really talking about okay, so no, another point that she also made is listening to Leanne's fiance's views around the offensive tweet didn't make me believe he was sorry. Apparently, now that's according to her. She doesn't feel he does. Apparently, this is the thing about those type of tweets. It was years ago. Like, you have to understand. It's like saying sorry is always never going to be enough. Your actions always have to speak louder. Do you see what I mean? And if you have the same views on a particular subject, yeah, and it's so weird because he actually did mention that, you know what I mean, he learned more about the situation, and you know what I mean, he learned more. So now his views have changed. And he mentioned it's the environment he grew up in. Or, well, Leanne kind of put words into his mouth really, like, is it the environment he grew up in or whatever? That's exactly what it is. The mainstream media, mainstream education pushed out the propaganda of racism and colorism. If you do not believe that, look at what the fuck is going on with Palestine, yeah? And look what they're trying to shut you off from trying to see and hear, yeah? They bombed an Al Jazeera building, yeah? Let that sink in for a moment. They don't want you knowing the certain things, innit? Knowing certain things. So imagine now they're trying to program you to think and feel a certain way about certain subjects. So they are definitely 100% pushing certain agendas like colorism and racism. And it's no wonder certain people think a certain way if their parents are not teaching them how to be critical thinkers and teaching them true humanitarian or true humanity. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, let's get back into what else I'm going to say about that. So, she's in her right to not feel like he's sorry. But me personally, I think he's sorry, innit? I'm not just saying it because I'm a man and I like football or whatever. I'm saying that because there's some things in the past that I have said, yeah, and done, even up to like last year. Like, and it wasn't until I had a woman come onto my team or whatever, and we reviewed those posts, and I'd like, raw, okay. So I deleted most of them, innit? I think there's still more I've got to delete as well, to be honest with you, but yeah, I deleted most of them. I deleted them. Because I'm like, we reviewed it together. And even some of them, she like, nah, she doesn't see any offense in that, but then I thought to myself, nah, let me take that off. Do you know what I mean? Because it could be more. It could be offensive to other women. That's why I deleted some of those posts. It is what it is. Like, you learn and you grow from experiences. You know what I mean? And I've learned when to say stuff and when not to say stuff. It is what it is. And obviously the stats also, I've learned why. You know what I mean? But I won't go too deep into that because, yeah. Yeah, and she also mentioned she didn't respect her dad saying, "I'm just John Pinnock," when asked if he identifies as black. Well, the truth of the matter is, if you know your true history, you're not black. I'm not black. I am an Igbo man. That's what I am. I am an Edo man. That's what I am. Those are my heritage. Other than that, get me? Because what is black? Like, when you stretch back what black is, it is a social construct created by a particular name. In fact, if you click on the link in the description box below where it says become a member of the Alkebulantrust, you get access to online courses such as African and Caribbean history, and you learn all of that information there, exactly where, you know, the race term in terms of black and white comes from. You know what I mean? And why that exists, why it exists, and blah blah blah. Like, you know what I mean? So my point is, that's not your history. That's not your true identity. Get me? Your identity is also your name as well. You want to be addressed as, you know what I mean? So imagine, because it's the same thing as someone saying to you, black woman. You're gonna find that offensive. You know what I mean? Or black man. Nah, that's not my name. So if someone calls my name, be like, "Yo, Raphael," or versatile. Now every time I remember, I go like, raw. There's bare things to mention. I'll probably do a part 2. Yeah, so Leanne also tried to get the meeting with the head of Sony, but instead offered the director who was a black woman. And funny enough, that I don't think the woman was actually in the video. But anyway, again, I found out who the director was, and that kind of makes sense. But it doesn't surprise me because Sony are the ones that basically brought back Sony ATV, well, Sony Publishing with ATV Publishing from Michael Jackson's estate for an undervalued price. And you know, if Michael Jackson was alive, he wouldn't sell that. Yeah, other than that, there's bare stuff that she mentioned, and I'll just put them up. Do you know what I mean? I put them up. Overall, we're going to look at the actual solution. The solution is fucking simple, right? We just need our own shit, yeah? We need to get back to self-sufficiency. We need our own lands. We need our own systems. We need to live the way that we're supposed to live. So Igbos need to live the way that Igbos are supposed to live. Yorubas are supposed to live the way that they're supposed to live. Hausa is supposed to live the way they're supposed to live. If you know, whatever your tribe or your culture is from, whatever, live those cultural values and traditions. Yeah, that's it. I can't say anything else more than that. We need our own stuff. We need to stop trying to fit in. We were never designed to fit in. The system was never meant for us. Even though we exceed in so many areas, it was never designed for us to win. But anyway, click the link in the description box below. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification, because you never know, the video you suggest might just be next.